Welcome back, people. Wolves versus Arsenal today, and a much more entertaining game by Arsenal's Premier League standards. There have been a number of games in which Arsenal have not had the greatest sort of almost entertaining football, but today was quite a bit better. We move into the game and we can see, there was a great piece of play by Wolves to sort of get out of the block from Arsenal. They run down the wing, Semedo with his lightning pace, whips in the ball. Sarabia, who gets good contact on it from the volley, cannot finish it off. Otherwise, it would have been 1-0 to Wolves. But instead, he puts it over the bar, and that's 0-0 still. Arsenal have a chance to go again without going on the back foot. Now, around the 24th minute, we see a ball whipped in by Trossard, who up until that point had actually played quite well. But Arsenal not able to capitalize as Havertz cannot put the ball in the back of the net. Now, Ranieri played quite well, but around that point, he lost the ball a couple of times. Not the end of the world. We know he doesn't play as regularly as he should, so maybe a little less match sharp, or maybe just, not having the greatest or most clinical game. But all in all, up until this point, not too bad. Then there was a great pass from Havertz around the 40th minute. But Martinelli he doesn't control the ball. Now, I've got a few questions over Martinelli, and I guess we'll go over that in a later video. Probably when we do the North London Gooner podcast with non-techie, and we'll see exactly what goes on there. We'll see exactly what goes on, and we'll dive a bit deeper. But for now, we saw a silly tackle from Miles Lewis-Skelly, who essentially wanted to stamp out a potential counter-attack from Wolves. Now, clearly the ball's with Doherty. We know that there's a bunch of Wolves players running on. We know the likes of Wang Yi-Chan and Semedo breaking. We know Ait-Nouri will be on the other side breaking as well. Doherty has the ball. Be a bit more clinical, but he really doesn't. The tackle isn't great. And he ends up basically with his foot above the ankle of Doherty, coming down, studs down on top of his foot. Referee gives a red card. It's reviewed by VAR very, very quickly, and the red card is not overturned. So Arsenal go down to 10 men and proceed from there. Now, funnily enough, Arsenal have the most red cards this season, and we should have been aware of this and played slightly differently. I imagine Miles Lewis-Skelly knew that at that point he could foul Doherty with that potential tackle. However, in his mind, he probably thought the worst comes to worst, he'll get a yellow, especially since Doherty is not the last man. However, referee had other ideas, and the rule actually does state that tackles such as that, above the ankle, studs down, coming onto a foot, are liable for a red card. And so the decision stood, and that was that. Now, around the 62nd minute, another Kai Havertz opportunity ahead of this time, again, with the ball whipped in by Declan Rice. Kai Havertz right in front of goal, still not able to see this off. No finish from him, still 0-0, and this doesn't look good generally because still Arsenal are down to 10 men. Now, Martinelli had received the ball a number of times and looked to take on his defender throughout the game. But this left back, because Martinelli was playing on the right today, this left back by the name of Agbadou, who is a relatively new left back for Wolves, had come over from Reims in France, and he was unplayable. He kept Martinelli in his back pocket all day, which is probably definitely a boon for Agbadou, but also it might be an indictment for Martinelli and raise questions over whether he's actually good enough. This sort of keep your head down, kick the ball and run doesn't seem to be working all the time, and it definitely didn't work against Agbadou today. Now, funnily enough, probably the one good chance Martinelli actually had from the wing was against not Agbadou, who at this point in time was sort of trying to help double up on Martinelli, but was more assessed, as in he was further into the box than the defender that was actually marking Martinelli when he got the ball this time, who was Ait Nouri. Now, Ait Nouri looks to defend Martinelli and seems to think Martinelli will go on the outside this time, as he usually does. However, Martinelli takes the inside route slightly and whips in a ball into the box, at which point it falls to Califiori after a bit of sort of bumbling around in the box. And Califiori takes a clean strike on the half volley and puts it right into the back of the net, quite close to keeper. Keeper was probably inches from it, but it was a no-go. You couldn't touch it. And that gave Arsenal our goal today. Just before that, there was a second yellow card given to a Wolves player, which actually put Wolves down to 10 men. Now, this was for Joao Gomez. He got sent off. That second yellow was for another weird sort of studs up, scraping down the leg foul on Timber. And referee was having none of it. Second yellow, he got sent off. And that was pretty much that for the game, except for a kick directly from the Wolves goalkeeper all the way out to the left-hand side, in which Ait Nouri took down the ball. Timber didn't seem to have the legs for the foot race, and he was basically bearing down on goal. But Raya stood up straight. He wasn't to be fooled. He made himself big, came out to the ball, and Ait Nouri seemed to have nowhere to shoot. He seemed to have nowhere to shoot in his eyes and could not put it past Raya. Now, there are a couple of shout outs I want to give. I think Raya played particularly well. I think Agbadu played particularly well for Wolves. Ait Nouri played quite well. Semedo looked a great player. Trossard played semi-well. He had good spots and then he had bad spots. Partey played great. He played pretty great. Declan Rice was great. Saliba probably looked a little bit leggy still in certain pockets, but other than that, he played well. Gabriel played well. 100%. Miles Lewis-Skelly, he was quite good, not great all round, but he was forcing the issue a bit. But getting a red card is not great. Across the pitch, there were a number of passes that were stamped out. Arsenal playing passes and the Wolves players stamped out pretty quickly. And there were a number of these sort of interceptions and stamped out passes. Now, it looked to me like Arsenal were taking a bit more of a gamble in terms of their passing and trying to take riskier options and riskier moves. And this is good generally because Arsenal don't take chances. You have slower build up, and that is just more predictable. However, we do need to just balance that out, being a bit more clinical. And I think we have a lot of a better chance of getting up the pitch and trying to make something happen. But again, 1-0 to the Arsenal. Come on, you Gooners. This is what we look forward to. You know, decent performances, good entertaining football, and the win. And we keep it moving. So on to the next one. There'll be another video, hopefully with all of us in there, and we will see you soon. All right, have a good one.